So we are finishing up political parties today. Forget the Washington's farewell address, and the political parties assignment is due on Tuesday. The video that I put up with Lex Green, really it would be in your interest to watch that to complete both of those assignments, especially the Washington's farewell. I am thinking that, we're about halfway done. I might put up a second extra credit test. In fact, I think I'm going to. I just want to hear from you about what you think is going well in the class, what isn't. It would be entirely optional. I hope you know by now or figured out that, I'm not offended by much of anything. And you can tell me what you think in a respectful way, and I'm interested in your thoughts about the class and what can be done better and what can be done worse. So that would be an extra credit opportunity that I would give you. I just probably label it Test 1, Part 2. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. You won't be penalized for not doing it. I just want to make that very clear. But if any of you were willing to give me feedback, I would very much appreciate that. Good enough? Okay. So that'll be a weekend project. So I normally put out a survey, but the survey service I was using took away the free option. So, all right, where'd we leave it? Modern era. Yeah, we watched the Daisy ad about that poor little girl that got nuked. Barry Goldwater, and we talked about candidates being, part of this cult of personality these days. So we really live in this candidate-centered era where we're worried more about what Donald Trump did and what he said and what he might have done with someone in a hotel room in Russia than about policy reform or what's on his political agenda. So the Democrats and Republicans have remained fairly well organized, and they engage in fundraising activities that are necessary to run candidates for political office. They're necessary to provide manpower and electoral expertise to deliver voters on election day. Now, the Democrats and Republicans are great at this. Third parties, not so much. We spend all of our time and all of our money trying to obtain ballot access due to particularly, let's just pick a nice word for it, archaic, outdated signature requirements. When I ran for state representative in 2014, my Republican and Democratic challengers had to collect 500 signatures within my state house district at the time to get on the ballot. I, on the other hand, I forget the exact number for that year. It was somewhere in the area of 2,000 signatures to get on the ballot for the same office. It was a one-man operation. My father finally felt sorry enough to help me. We managed to collect about 800 between the two of us, which was not a bad effort, but not enough. Got kicked off the ballot. So this pyramid here really should be inverted. Because these guys, without these guys, the identifiers and the voters, the rest of this, there is no national chair, there is no national committee, nothing like that. The identifiers and the voters are the most important part of this equation and make the rest of this possible. So with a top-down political organization, you have a national chair at the top, then the national committee, which includes the the state delegations, the vice chair, the secretary, all that. Then we go down to the convention. The national conventions are where the presidential candidates are nominated. Those are on TV every 4 years for you to see. Then this is where I worked, I should say. I might go back at some point. The state central committees and state conventions. This is really just a repeat of the first 3 points up here: the national chair, the national committee, the national convention. So the state central committee has the chairman, the vice chairman, the secretary, the treasurer, all that. And then committeemen from each of the congressional districts in the state. We hold conventions, at least in Illinois. Some do it differently, with the Libertarian Party, again, because that's what I know. We do it every 2 years. We have a convention every 2 years. We nominate gubernatorial candidates. We pick out which presidential candidates we like and all that. A couple of years, I think in 2016, we played host to all the Libertarian Party presidential candidates. We put on a debate for them. Then it just keeps going down. It's the same thing. Congressional district committees, city and county ward committees, precinct and ward committees. Precincts are the smallest form of local government. Precincts, pretend this is a precinct. This is a precinct. This is a precinct. This is a precinct. Okay, this makes up the neighborhood, right? So there would be a precinct committeeman assigned to precinct 1 here. The Democrats would have one, the Republicans would have one. We've started to develop these in precincts. I was one when I lived in Springfield, but not since I moved. So then the activists and volunteers, identifiers and voters. Again, identifiers and voters. Without those, the parties don't exist. Activists are also pretty darn important because they do a bulk of the work of the party. So what is the role of a political party? We should know this by this point. What's the role of a political party before I go forward? What are they meant to do? Mr. Andrews.
No, I was just guessing.
Well, give it a guess.
Their goal is to broadcast their ideas so that they have voters to elect their candidates so that they can push and get their ideas further into the government.
Close enough. It was an ill-timed stretch. I'm sorry. They're concerned with enacting government policies that fit with their beliefs. We don't, we aren't effective as single voices. We're just not. If Rob walked into Dick Durbin's office to complain about the potholes in his town, would Rob be listened to? No. Security would be taking him out, yeah. We select candidates to run for office. These guys represent the party, at least during that particular election. And that's actually a party logo right there. Any guesses? We have parties for everything. Did that give anything away? No? That's okay. It's the logo of the Pirate Party. The U.S. Pirate Party. No, it's a misleading label. They're concerned with electronic safety and all that. They're not, ahoy me matey, shiver me timbers, and they're not those guys.